Just fly one time for your mind. Just fly one time for your mind.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, the coach, back at you again with our weekly installment of the Call-In Show. And guys, preseason is finally over. We have officially moved on into week 1 of the season. It is Jets week. It's finally time for us to figure out what this team is going to do as we embark on what seems to be our Super Bowl run. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions to be answered with what we're going to do with cuts. Final cuts are this Monday coming up. There's questions with the signings of Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams. Also, how are we going to move forward with Ricky Pearsall? There's new news with Ricky Pearsall being tabbed as injured with a shoulder injury. The Niners knew about this shoulder injury. This injury has happened 2 times. He's re-injured the shoulder 2 times since he's been with the team. It's been a lot. I mean, in true form, nothing has really changed because there's always something to say with the Niners. But right now, what I wanted to do is bring up my boy Chunder Boy, who is going to be able to open the first topic with us. We already have some callers in, and what we really wanted to do is just basically get into how the Ricky Pearsall injury, how it happened, the overall prognosis of the recovery with the injury and the severity. So let me go ahead and get my boy in here now. Chunder Boy. Dog. I can't believe. Yo, are you ready? I can't believe this guy. I'm removing him from Dale. You're up. This is nuts. Let's go, Dale. How you doing, Dale?
How's it going, buddy? Can you hear me all right?
Man? Yeah, I got you. You got me?
Yeah. I got you.
How are you, man?
I'm good, dude. I'm almost 50. I've been a Niner fan forever. I don't live in Cali. Nowhere near them.
Okay.
But they're the first team I ever saw play football, and I've never switched.
Okay.
So I love this team. I've always loved them.
I see you're level setting right now. You're just setting the ground floor. Yeah.
Love them.
Okay.
However, there's a couple things. I got a couple complaints.
All right, let's go.
First complaint. And I trust our front offices. The only times we'll get into that in a minute, but I trust the team, right? They usually make right decisions. This Pearsall pick, I'm so pissed off about this dude. I get 31's not a good spot in the draft, but why didn't we move back? Or why didn't we get that big body receiver like Anquan Bolden or a David Boston? You know the
Xavier Legette was there.
Yeah. Why? Why would we go with a 180-pound specialty guy who now we find out is chronically hurt all the time? So I'm mad about that. Second off, like you, and I can't remember the guy who talks to the trenches with you because I'm going to butcher his name, but the older gentleman who's with
Tom
you.
Jensen.
Tom, yeah. I believe like you two believe. Like you can have all they're talking like this is the great rookie class, great draft class. And I'm like, yeah, great. But the part where the game is actually played, where it matters, is the trenches, boys. You can't do anything if you don't control the line, whether it's on the D side or the O side.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And as an aside, I was out of work for 14 months, and I listened to you. I learned from you, so I'm glad to see you back. And hopefully, all your, I know you had some stuff going on. I'm glad you're back,
good, brother.
man.
So, thank you, man. Thank you so much, Dale. And I appreciate all. Like, listen. You're one of my dogs that I always look for in the chat. You know what I'm saying? You guys always show great support, man. I love your engagement, man. And like, keep calling back, bro. Keep calling back, man.
Just don't whore for those Bet US. You go with those blue chews. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, I see you. Yo, you cannot stand those betting apps, bro. You
No.
hate the sponsorships, bro. You hate them.
No, I don't mind sponsorships. It's just that none of y'all are original. Everybody's look at here's my prop bets. I don't get like come on. I'd rather you get like a Coors like here watch me drink this yellow jacket in 3 seconds. Crack boom. If they pay you for that, do that.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you. I'm gonna holler at you, man. Get at you. Hey, Nick, you ready? What's good, bro? How you doing, man?
What up, coach?
My guy, talk to me. Tell me, I want to know because I missed you for the live stream, dog.
I know. I was busy,
All right, so
Saturdays with the girl, if I want to watch football on Sundays,
Hey, Mrs. Coach plays no games, dog. Like, she don't play no games. So yeah. I get it. So talk to me, man. What you got for me?
So, you know what I'm excited about this year?
Who?
It looks like we're going to be able to run to the right behind Purdy. I just saw Baldy's breakdown, and he's obsessed with Dominic Purdy.
He is.
He's obsessed.
Yeah, he is.
He was on I forget what radio he was on in the Bay.
KNBR,
and he was saying how he's like, this is a dude.
Yeah.
Like I think with Purdy, like if Purdy elevates his game to a really good status, that just helps out McKivitz.
Yes.
Where McKivitz doesn't have to do because really that right side of the offensive line with Burford and like obviously Feliciano is a veteran, so it's like he gives you what he gives you. But like Burford had some just mental mistakes. I feel like even Brian Baldinger said it. Like he doesn't look like he's a rookie.
Yeah.
Like he was saying, like against the Saints, he got tripped up on like one stunt that the Saints did, and then the next 3 times they did it on him, he picked it up and he was good to go. Like he seems to learn in game, which is like awesome.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say about Dominic Purdy that I love is he's very confident. You know what I mean? It's like, you get that young pup. Yeah. You get that young puppy, man, and you want to stress test the hell out of him because you want that drive to come out of him. That's what I see in Dominic Purdy when he plays. I think that there's nothing that he won't try. I think that he plays with a lot of confidence, which is something that was very hard to get out of Spencer Burford at times. And I feel like we just couldn't get enough of it out of John Feliciano because he's capped. He's only but so good.
Yeah. He's already reached the ceiling.
Exactly. I agree. And I think this is a good pick.
Which isn't a bad thing, but that's just kind of the reality of where he is as a player,
Yeah, but onward and upward. You know what I mean? Like, we got to move on, bro. It's like the elevator evacuate, bro. This is the league. So,
and also I wanted to get your thoughts on Brock last night. I thought Brock played really well.
I think he did too. I think also all right, so his processing has gotten even better. I mean, he moves with the quickness.
He's clipping through these reads so quick, dude. You could just see it with the way he moves his feet. He's going boom, 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 boom every time.
Right, exactly. I like the way he's utilizing the pocket. Also, I mean, he looks completely different playing with his guys. You know what I'm saying? So my biggest
it's easier to play when you don't have 3 car salesmen, running routes for you.
Yeah,
no shade to Trent Taylor and those guys, but like even if 2 weeks ago against the Saints, if he just had like Chris Conley and Jawan Jennings out there, like fine, but like rolling him out there with Trent Taylor and those boys, what are you really doing for Brock? Like, because if you're ever in a situation where he's playing with those 3 receivers, it's gonna be a CMC Jordan Mason game. Like no one's gonna be able to get open.
Right. So I mean, I'll tell you this. We're starting to see a little bit of what we have been talking about when the whole Brock mania first hit. When Purdy mania first hit, we started having these conversations earlier on shows where I was saying, be careful what you wish for, Kyle, because this fan base loves their quarterback. All right, this fan base, we love our quarterbacks. It's what we do. right?
And I think yeah, you brought it up on one of your streams after the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was a brilliant point by you when you said even though Brock, yeah, did Brock miss some throws in the Super Bowl? Sure. But that was the first big game I felt like in the Shanahan tender where it's like the quarterback gets no blame for that. No,
Yes.
like Brock basically put up his feet on Kyle's desk and was like, "All right, where did we actually lose the game? Because I did my job."
Mm-hmm.
In the fourth
Exactly.
quarter, he was going back and forth with Mahomes. If Mahomes got a field goal, I got a field goal. If I had scored a touchdown, Mahomes had to score a touchdown. Like he was
Yeah.
going back and forth with them. So
hundred
and
percent.
and and so I think the next phase of Brock's maturity, I think he's I don't know where to put it, but obviously he's super confident.
Right.
But I think in terms of like with the obviously not with the Avengers. I hate calling them that. It's so stupid. But it's like because the goal for like I hate when people say that about him because like the goal of the team is to get good players around your quarterback. Like, does anyone else talk about Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, T Higgins, Joe Mixon when he had that? Like, what's the
No.
difference? Anyway, I think when Brock masters the playbook, I think it's over. Like, cause
Yeah.
then it's gonna be like Shanahan's could just be like, if he does, which I don't know if he will, give him full control, and then now it's Brock can actually manipulate what he wants to do. Because right now Brock's still doing what Kyle wants him to do, obviously. But once he gets that playbook down pat, and it's like a second language, it's either Brock's never gonna be losing the game for us. I'll be that might be a hot take, but Brock's gonna do his part to put us in places to win. That's the way I
Yeah.
feel.
I feel that. I mean, I feel the same way too, man. Like one thing that I will tell you is that I do agree with that. Like Brock is. I think the way. I believe what I had said after the Super Bowl is that Brock is the first quarterback that survived Kyle.
Yes, that
That
exactly. Yes, yes. Sorry to
Yeah, like
misquote you. Yeah.
he survived. No, you didn't. Like you brought it up actually. Like you made me remember it, but he survived Kyle. Usually Kyle has always been able to rest on a quarterback when it's time for him to go with like, all right, well, what did you do here? Why, like,
Yeah.
what exactly happened? And I feel like Brock is kind of put himself in a position where he's already proven to the fan base that he's enough for Kyle. So now the conversation is back on Kyle. It's like, all right, well, what can you do to get the best out of him? Because he's already shown us he can operate your offense.
Yeah,
So
and
now,
that yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, sorry.
No,
You
go,
know,
go.
yeah, I was just gonna say that that I was watching the game last night. That throw he had where he was rolling out of the pocket and then threw it sidearm to Conley. That I was
Fire.
like like if Caleb Williams made that throw, everyone would be like it would be all over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand like why people think Brock is just not as good as he is. Like, I just and you know what the thing is too. Like us watching Jimmy for so many years, and now we
Mm-hmm.
get to watch Brock. It's like night and day. But other people don't understand that because obviously they don't watch as close as we do. But that's
Mm-hmm.
just a frustrating aspect to me. It's like, do you watch the throws that Brock makes on a consistent basis and just think that's like how do you think that's average football? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, because people see this team through Kyle. We see people, who are not with our team. They think, Kyle is a great coach, man. It's just what it is. He's a great coach. And what happens with Kyle's like mystique is that sometimes he casts a big wake, right? As far as like he's the biggest voice in the room, he casts a big shadow over a lot of players, and it's hard for the rest of the league to be able to give guys their individual talent traditionally. Like, I mean, case in point, nobody is thinking that Patrick Mahomes' success is like directly tied to Andy Reid, right? Like when we see the Chiefs, we think, oh, that's Patrick Mahomes' team.
Yeah,
Like nobody looks at this as it's like it's Andy Reid and the Chiefs. Like it's not.
yeah, that's
No.
but I think that's the next evolution, though. I think like the
Well,
next evolution is this is Brock's team and Kyle's just along for the ride.
let me
Like
ask you this. I think that that's when we finally get to the crossroads of whether Kyle should be here or not. Because I don't think he has the stomach to be in the background. And you know what else? I
so
don't
I
think
don't
that Brock is scared of Kyle. I think that Brock really wants to be the leader of this team.
so I don't I actually don't disagree with that point. The only thing I will say is if it comes to a point where what if Kyle just truly, but like I saw you guys had that round table when they were asking like if you had one question to ask Kyle, is Brock a franchise quarterback? I actually disagree with you guys. I
Mm-hmm.
think if you had Kyle in a room with you drinking a beer or whatever, he would be like, Brock's a top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm good with Brock.
You think so?
100%.
That's interesting. That is interesting. So
100%. Because what what Kyle likes about a quarterback and what Jimmy failed to do a lot of the time is do what Kyle said to do, and 80% of the time that will work. But Brock has the other 20% where Brock bails out Kyle more than 9 times out of 10. And
I think
Kyle looks at Brock like, yeah, go ahead.
I think that I think that Brock. I don't think that Kyle sees it as Brock bailing him out. I think we see it as that. I think we know, like the entire existence of Brock is him bailing Kyle out.
Oh yeah,
like,
if they didn't find Brock, Kyle's probably coaching. I don't even know where he is right
and
now.
I don't
But
think Kyle feels that way, and that's the problem. As wild as that sounds,
yeah, no, that's fair. That's
I
fair.
don't
That's definitely
I
fair.
don't think that Kyle thinks I don't think Kyle sees Brock the way we do. The origin story of, dude, if this kid does not come and save our bacon in week 8 and probably go on one of the greatest rookie runs of all time in NFL history, Kyle, you are DOA, bro. Like,
Yeah,
you're officially on the hot seat. And not even because Jed would want it,
yeah,
because the
because
fans would want it.
nobody would know what to do with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trey
and
Lance
nobody would
down,
know what to do
Jimmy
with the
down.
quarterback spot if Brock doesn't.
Yeah, it would have been crazy. But hey, I
Like
got some
like
guys
if
waiting.
they don't draft Brock, yeah, I'll
No,
catch you. What are you doing it next Saturday?
yeah, catch me next Saturday, bro. I got some guys waiting. I want to be able to get
Yeah,
everybody, bro.
appreciate it, coach. Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna get
yeah,
at you, bro.
appreciate it. Bye.
All right, bro.
Yep.
Yo, Chunner boy, you ready? Your audio better be together, man. Your stuff sounded like the Matrix before I had to mute you. You good, bro?
Is it better?
Yeah. Look up at
Okay,
the
you can
camera.
hear me. I don't sound like the
You look
Matrix.
like a CIA insurgent. Look at the yeah. You look like you're
Is that better?
stationed in Fallujah right now. Doing a little bit of merc work.
I mean,
Doing a little
kind
triple
of in my
canopy
little
merc
corner
work.
over here.
Yeah, bro. Come on, man. You look like a contractor right now. Clean it up, operator.
Well, I've been there. I've been to both Iraq and Afghanistan, and you're
Well,
not
yo, we
totally
are
wrong. This
familiar,
is kind of
sir.
what you kind of get stuck in a corner like this, trying to make a video call home or just even make a phone call home. So
Hey, I know a
you're not
skiff when
totally
I
wrong.
see one. I know a skiff when I see one. I'm like, my man is over there in the skiff. So what's good, man?
What's up, buddy?
Talk to me, man.
So I called a friend of mine who does physical therapy in the Bay Area with the professional medical teams for like the Giants, and they've worked with the Niners and stuff like that. She works directly with the guy that does all the knee surgeries down there and stuff like that. She actually worked with the guy who was with Brock with his elbow injury and all that stuff. So I called her and asked her what exactly is a subluxation, because I wasn't totally sure, and I'm usually pretty familiar with a lot of the basic terms when it comes to injuries. So basically, it's where your shoulder comes out and then knife clips as well. It's where the shoulder comes out and then goes back in. But it doesn't fully dislocate. So if it fully dislocates, you have a structural issue, because you can get a torn labrum, you can chip the bone, you can tear a tendon, all sorts of things. Like, for it to come all the way out of the socket, it usually causes some sort of structural issue, structural damage. If it just partially dislocates and goes back in, it's just kind of tender, needs a couple of weeks. So that's the same injury that he had in college. He had it in OTAs. He just had it again during training camp. This is actually the same injury that Kittle deals with. That's why when Kyle Shanahan was saying that like 80% of guys struggle with this, it's because if you take a hard shot to the shoulder, that thing pops out a little bit. It's actually a fairly common football injury. So whether or not it's going to become chronic is the real question. And if it comes all the way out at some point, if he takes if he hits the ground at a weird angle or something like that, then it could become a chronic issue. But it really just needs time to get fully healed. And it shouldn't become a chronic issue at this point.
All right, so this is my thing. Shoulder injuries are very different. All right. And it's really kind of like a biology type deal, depending on like what your body can hold. I mean, as far as like you got weak tendons, right? If you can be able to bounce back, a lot of shoulder injuries happen because pain threshold is different. I had to learn that. Like I have a very high pain threshold. So when there were issues going on with my shoulder that I should have been getting checked out, I was thinking that I was just powering through it when it was like, no, you need to get your ass in the lock. You know what I'm saying? You need to take your ass to the training table and get that checked out. Popping it back in is not cool. Like you need to go get that looked at. So, you know, I mean, this is like the mud and spit days, like whatever, just pack mud on it. You'll be okay. But what I will say about the shoulder injury that it concerns me is that it's happened. There's been 2 aggravations since we've had them. That's the only thing that kind of kills me is that, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. You can't look at the frequency of the shoulder injury happening so closely together and then all of a sudden say, oh, well, this is when it started, when we got them. It's like, no, the Niners have already let the cat out the bag with, we knew that these injuries had happened before when we got here. So I guess my main question to you is, how many times do you have to re-injure something before it's labeled chronic? Right? That's like the real conversation, right? And I don't think any of us know that.
The only way that you know whether it's chronic or not is if the doctors can tell when something has become chronic, because basically it becomes chronic when it's not fully healing every time. So you can have the same injury 3 times. As long as it heals back every time, you just maybe got unlucky and got hit in the same spot 3 times in a row or something like that. But as long as it heals back 100% each time, that's not considered a chronic injury.
Mm-hmm.
However, if this thing is just not getting all the way back to 100%, which makes it easier for it to get injured again, that's when you have a chronic injury. And that's not the kind of thing so this is not the same thing as like knee tendonitis. It's not the same thing as like plantar fasciitis. That's something that is a constant chronic injury that can't be corrected.
All right.
Sorry, these comments are getting me.
Yeah, dude. I have the livest comment. I have the livest chat in YouTube, bro. Like I'm trying to tell you, bro. Like I love it, and I encourage all of it. All of it. This is my brood. Okay, right here. I love what goes on in the chat. So, all right. So I guess the biggest thing right now is just to let him heal and to get him on the field. I mean, I know that was a bar.
Correct.
But what I feel like is we just got to give him grace. I mean, Ricky Pearsall is somebody who he didn't ask to be drafted here. And really he's kind of getting caught up in kind of like a little bit of a civil war that's happening inside of the team that he has nothing to do with. And if we're being honest, it's not like we don't want him to do well. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes we can be so critical of a player where you might have to ask the question like, Jesus Christ, do you want him to do well? Like, are you going to root for him? Like, so and you can kind of feel that way when it comes to like, you know, Brock Purdy in a certain way where, you know, it's like there's a certain way to criticize a player or critique a player, but then there's a whole different ball game when it turns personal and it's like, all right, well, wait a minute. We are on the same team, right? Like, what are we doing here?
We're supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're critiquing this guy, but you kind of like you kind of taking a little bit of pleasure in like pointing out all of the vulnerabilities with this guy, like what's going on. So I don't want that for Ricky Pearsall because there's a toxicity in the fan base where that can easily happen. So, a
couple of things that have to be kind of one thing we have to remember is that we had a changeover in our training staff this offseason. So during the draft prep period, we're basically having to adjust to our head guy leaving, new guys taking over, and now we have like a 2-headed dragon kind of thing with our training staff. I'm wondering, is this because obviously they have to sign off on something like this? So it makes me wonder, is there a glitch in the matrix? Did we overlook something that we should not have overlooked? So that's my first question: is is this something that we missed, or did they just give us the green light and we got unlucky and it popped back up again?
Oh man, your dial-up just came up, baby. Hey, can you still talk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. So at the end of the day, this goes back to, and I don't think that the conversation is phrased this way often enough. We don't have an issue with Ricky Pearsall as a player, right? Guys like you and me and other guys, Gammon, I see him sitting in there. So the issue is not the player that was picked, it's where the player was picked. It's the process that's involved. You don't take a guy like this at 31 overall when you can get a similar guy at the end of the second round, beginning of the third round, and pass up on a tackle. You don't get a high-end tackle at the beginning of the third round, usually. That's very rare. Getting a wide receiver of this caliber at the top of the third round or the end of the second round happens literally every draft. So the problem here is not with the player, it's with the process. And that's where the criticism needs to go back to the 49ers front office, and the failure of process that is constantly keeping things, it keeps putting freaking roadblocks in, right? The whole process with Trey Lance. The issue was not the player. The issue is that you moved up to the third pick before like anything had ever happened. The entire process with how they picked Trey Lance was absolutely, I loved it when they picked Trey Lance. I was hoping they did. It didn't work out. I don't care about that. I care that the process was wrong. I care that the process with Ricky Pearsall was wrong. That's the part that bothers me. The criticism needs not go on the player. The criticism needs to go on the front office for bad process.
Yeah. I mean, look, one thing about process is that I really want to handle this subject with kid gloves, because you can't necessarily challenge a process that puts you in the Super Bowl on a regular basis. Like, so when we are talking about process, we do have to understand that sometimes it's easy to look at a plan posthumously, like as it's done, and pick apart the bones and say, yo, this is where this went wrong, this is where this blunder happened, you shouldn't have went this way. And that's cool. But if we're giving the Niners a little bit of a positive tilt on what they hoped would happen, I think you can kind of understand the syntax in like their methodology, right? On like, all right, so they're gonna pick linemen late because of their scheme. They're going to pick D linemen early because that's who they pay the most, right? They're going to pick. So it's like you try to at least put a little bit of like understanding to how they move, especially in the draft. But if we're being fair, judging them over the past couple of years has been extremely chaotic, just due to the fact that we haven't had a first round pick for so long. And really, this is kind of like our first crack at bat with having a full draft. You know, if you go like kind of stretch out 10,000 feet up and look at what the Niners have done, I think the biggest issue that we could say that the Niners have done draft-wise as far as process is that they've made a lot of moves in the first round that just have not panned out. They try to put all of their eggs in one basket when it comes to the first round, and they get paralysis by analysis. You know, they take the move and they go get Javon Kinlaw because they want to replicate what they lost in DeForest Buckner, but they completely overlook his injury history, right? They move up and give up 3 picks to get up in the first round to go get in the Trey Lance trade, but they moved up there because they wanted the option to pick whoever they wanted up there. They didn't even know that they wanted Trey Lance up there, and by the time they had got there, they tried to make themselves believe that they wanted Trey Lance. You know, you know, you look at all of the third round guys that we got, from Sermon that didn't pan out, you know, to Hurd that didn't pan out. You know, you guys look at TDP didn't pan out. So there's certain things that they've done over time where you can point those things out and say, hey, the Niners really haven't had this regime, really haven't had a first round pick hit outside of Brandon Ayuk and a Nick Bosa.
Yep.
Like, what other first round picks have we had that even are in there? Well, wait a minute. That's a good. What first round picks outside of Brandon Ayuk and Nick Bosa have made it to their second contract with the Niners?
None. Zero.
None.
And technically, BA hasn't. So
it's
one. Really just Bosa.
Yeah. So
okay,
they've only signed. They've out of all of the first round picks that they've signed, they've only got one guy that's made it to their second deal. So that's telling.
How did me and you flip roles here, man? How is it that I'm over here bashing the 49ers front office and their process, and you're the one over here defending it? When did this happen?
You like the way
universe are we in right now?
I flipped that ass. You pause, but you see, I did. I topsy-turvied it.
Big pause.
Yeah, I got you. I was like, oh, is he going on the Niners right now? Oh, this is a really good time for me to get you.
And you know me, I'm the 49er homer. So if I'm criticizing it, there's probably an issue there. So first of all, I do agree with your overall that it's difficult to criticize a process that has been as successful as the 49ers process has been. So I'm not criticizing the process overall. I'm criticizing the process in the early part of the draft. And I think that's kind of what you were alluding to. The process is clearly a good process overall, but there seems to be something in the first, second, third rounds, the early picks, the premium picks, if you will, where that process is flawed. And it's creating roadblocks that are unnecessary. We're getting bumps in the road on our way to try to get a sixth Super Bowl. And a lot of the problems that are coming up are because the early drafting process is flawed. Because we didn't improve our offensive line well enough. Like, if our offensive line was better against the Chiefs, we probably win that championship. If we spend more time not trying to go against the flow and recreate the wheel in some ways with our early draft process, we might be in a different position. Right. And again, this is absolutely hindsight. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing I will say is I criticized both picks at the time. I loved the Trey Lance pick. It didn't work out. And I pivoted quickly when it looked like it wasn't going to work out. And I'll do the same thing with Ricky Pearsall. But the one thing to go the other direction with this, we also need to stop acting like after one preseason, we know that Cowing is a better prospect than Pearsall. And the 49ers have screwed it up again where they drafted a guy in the first round who's going to get beat by a guy in the fourth round. And it's like, well, we haven't even seen what Pearsall is or what he can do yet. So if we pump the brakes just a little bit and stop crowning Cowing after a couple of good preseason games against second and third stringers. So it goes both ways with this. It's fair to criticize the team for a process that seems to be flawed in the early part of the draft, but we also have to give them credit for how effective they've been overall throughout the entire draft process and throughout the seasons.
Yo, Papa J, you're dumb. So let me put it like this. All of that plays.
I wish I worked for the front office for the 49ers.
That's
my dream job.
All of that plays, but the best ability is availability. He's got to get here.
Facts.
So if he wants to shut us all up, show up. Hey, man, I'm going to get at you, bro. Jonas, you ready for me?
I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, bro.
Not, bro. It's my show. You came on here with the Campbell soup, with the Campbell soup connection. It's cool, bro. You know what I'm saying? I must be good enough for the dial-up. You know what I'm saying? We got a dial-up relationship. We you know what I'm saying? But it's all right. I'll holler at you, bro.
Love you, brother.
All right,
I'll
talk
holler,
to you.
man.
All right.
See ya.
Yo, let's do it, Gammon. Yeah, let's go, man. Yo, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
There we go. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm doing well. You know, it's just crazy to hear my boy Chunder Boy on there, because usually whenever I call him, he and I, we call, we get into the craziest arguments, and I
Mhm.
can't believe that we're agreeing on so much. And that's starting to make me feel like this is a bit of a problem. I really do agree with Dale when he said was just the wrong place to take Brasol when our overall biggest needs were O line and D line easily. I think that was kind of one of the biggest things. And I agree with Chunderboy when he said his assertion, if you will, is that a talent like Persol could have been taken in the second round, especially when you got a guy like Cowing. It's not to knock Persol, and Persol shouldn't be the head figure of a witch hunt. But what's to say that we couldn't have gotten, if we got Cowing where he's at right now, why couldn't have we gotten that in the third round? Right now, everything else. I do want to say this though: we need to put things into perspective and in its rightful balance.
Mhm.
This, without our GM or quote unquote GM, right, Peterson leaving for the Commanders. Other than the first round pick, I think that this whole entire draft class has actually been pretty damn good. I do like Malik Mustafa, right? And I think he was taken with the draft pick that we acquired from the Cowboys, right?
Mhm.
I do like Cowing. I do like Dominic Pooney,
Right.
right? Like we don't have this weird kicker or running back taken in another round. Well, kinda, but other than that, like a lot of things have worked really, really well. What
Yo, Sean is yo. Hey, son. Hey, Sean is ruthless, bro. Sean is ruthless.
Yes.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead.
No, yeah. Ahmad Z and then Stevo and Ahmad. I'm sorry, I do pronounce names wrong. That's just kind of like a military kind of thing. But cut down day is coming up pretty soon. Womack. Womack.
Bro. I got the chat, bro. Give me your point, bro. Go.
Well, I think that what we're gonna see, unfortunately, and I think that the real reason why you're seeing Kyle Shanahan giving Brock Purdy a little bit more burn is that his offense has changed. Every single Super Bowl, the new rules have came out that have limited the offense that John Lynch is able to utilize and put out there. As far as for a pre-snap, post-snap point. Post-snap, after the 2019, after we lost the Chiefs the first time, it was that, we could only chop block within a certain zone that we were allowed to chop block into. This year, what's really been limiting is that we don't get so much pre-snap movement or offense. So it makes it a little bit harder for the offense to kind of see, or for Brock Purdy to read what's going on. I agree. He's a master at diagnosing what the defense is doing, but it's a little bit harder when you can't completely see, okay, these are where these guys are lined up. And I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of a difference. And so with only 3 games, there's only so many snaps. And so he's trying to get them a little more acclimated to that. What's going to be a problem is when we go against the Jets, we all know that Fred Warner is probably the third best. And I know it's crazy for 49ers to hear this, but the third best pass coverage linebacker in the NFL. The reason why he's the number 1 linebacker in the NFL is third best coverage linebacker and probably the second best running back, kind of stopping defensive linebacker in the NFL. But the Jets have 2 of the top best, and not even better than Roquan Smith and Fred Warner as far as being in the pass defense. So I'm just a little concerned about that. I'm starting to kind of see some of these struggles. It would have been interesting if we would have gotten a defensive end or a tackle. My preference was always a center. When we knew that Alex Mack was long in the tooth and that we needed a replacement, now that's why we're having struggles with the right guard, right tackle, and everything else. Sometimes some problems start at the center, not the left, not the right, but sometimes you have to look within and look in deep. But that's where I'd kind of be there.
I like that. I like the way you closed out. No, I'm over it. I'm over the whole, why don't the Niners value offensive line conversation? Because they don't. That's the answer. It's pretty simple. And really, we got to see exactly how they're going to rebuild this offensive line once they move on from Trent. I'm very interested and how Trent comes into the season.
What kind of form is he going to be in, right?
I am so like everybody, like BA is the main conversation, and I get it. But I feel like if Trent comes in here looking greasy and fluffy, boy, it's gonna be rough watching him struggle. And I'm gonna tell you, and go and play the whole game. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If Trent plays the entire first game in 2-point stands, his ass is out of shape.
Exactly. And coach, I'm going to really leave you with this one, brother, but I really do. This is kind of where I think the frustration from these fans are. And I think what Boy was saying in rounds 1, 2, and 3, when we're talking about the premium picks, right? Our top 100, someone said Latu is below average. And that was during a class to where it was supposed to be so deep in tight ends, it was hard not to miss, but somehow we still did that, right? That's why it was kind of awkward when we picked that the kicker. Also, too, people are saying, why, what does this team see in McKivitz? I know that during the pre-draft, right, he was like he had the gold helmet or whatever that meant in their pre-draft analysis with that. But also, too, here's what's mind-boggling, coach. You just said out of your own mouth as an offensive line coach, right, in college and that sort of thing. You said that you don't feel, and I'm probably putting words in your mouth, but you don't feel that this team is really values the trenches as much as they should. But one of the very first things that John Lynch said when he took over this team as the general manager was he said that he really values or sometimes overvalues the offensive and defensive line. And that's where he sees his priorities as far as building this team is inside and out, not outside and in. And I'm absolutely seeing the complete opposite. And that's really just kind of my problem with it, coach, is I'm seeing a reverse in philosophy. Rules are changing for this offense, and I'm not really understanding why. We're getting older, longer in the tooth, and the injuries, I'm not really too surprised. I don't want to doom and gloom the season, but I'm starting to get those 2020 vibes where we were just a heavily injured team. We didn't really see it coming. We tried to fan the flames, but or pretend it wasn't there. But I've seen this script before, coach. I appreciate your time.
Hey man, I love the input, man, and I agree with you, man. Gammon, you're my road dog, bro. Come back anytime. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna make that call.
Yes,
I'm gonna make that call.
Yes, sir.
Love you, boy. I'll talk to you
later.
All right, Jonas. This is my dog here. This is my dog, Jonas. Jonas, I need a take.
Coach.
I need a take. You give me great takes, Jonas.
I've been waiting 30 minutes. I have plenty to say, and I think I'm gonna be booed in the chat again today.
You're gonna get all right because Jonas is my take guy. Okay, sometimes his takes are fire. Okay, and sometimes his takes are trash. So what we gotta know is what is Jonas gonna give us today? What you got?
I don't even know where to start. I'm going to end with Pearsall, but I'm going to start with Purdy because that's what the first guy was talking about.
Okay.
Man, listening to that guy, I wish you put me on with him because I would have challenged some of those views.
Okay.
Talking about Shanahan is going to give Purdy more control of the offense, blah, 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 and all of this. Listen, with all due respect to Brock Purdy, the number one reason he's still here, the number one reason why he hasn't been. Have you ever seen Kyle Shanahan put him under the bus yet? In a press conference?
No.
No. The reason why is because he's literally a joystick out there. His best trait is executing the playbook. All these fans that want to tell me, oh, we want Brock Purdy to have more control. No, I want him to have less control. I want him to execute the plays that are called by the coach. I don't want him freelancing because you know what? Freelancing got him benched twice in college. Did it not? It did.
Okay.
I don't want him doing it.
You say you want him to be a human joystick.
Yeah, that's what I want him to be. Be a human joystick. Execute the play.
Okay.
Now, if you're under pressure and all of that, then you can improvise. And we've seen him do that. That's nice. But the main goal for him should be to play in structure. And this notion that I don't care if Purdy wins 5 MVPs in a row, coach, and 5 Super Bowls in a row. Kyle Shanahan will always be the star of this team because everybody will say, Purdy, You were this in college, you became this in the NFL. How are you this in college and you become dominant in the NFL? That's kind of like, that doesn't work that way, coach, right? Usually you're
Right.
dominant in college and you struggle in the NFL.
Okay. So
So
basically, there's all right, I see what you're saying. Like, so you're saying like there's no guy that is dominant in college and then he struck. No, wait a minute. So are you saying
no,
there's
no, no, I
no
don't mean that way, coach. I meant either you're dominant in college, dominant in the NFL, or you're struggling in the NFL, but you are dominant in college. Like, we don't see people who struggle in college but are dominant in the NFL. Does that make sense?
That's true. That's true. That's true. You didn't see anybody who struggled in college and then just came in the NFL and just dominated. That's true.
A quarterback, especially.
That is true. I mean, look, I understand what you're talking about is like the net of like who Brock Purdy is as a quarterback alone, as an athlete. But that ship has sailed. Like, quarterbacks are entities. Like, they're a part of organizations. Like, there is a level of support and infrastructure that a quarterback gets where, quite frankly, he's too big to fail. And I think Brock is almost about to breach that, especially if he has another season like he had last year, where the Niners are about to take Brock on as a partner, man. I don't think that it's good business for Brock to be seen struggling. And they're always going to take, there's this conversation out there. There's this conversation out there about Brock that, oh, just wait until they pay him. And then the Niners have to strip away everything. And then, no, that's not going to happen. The cap is going to keep going up. They're going to keep being able to afford players. They're going to draft new players and always keep the best players around Brock, or at least what Kyle deems as the best players for his offense. I'm going to put it like this. The day Brock does get into a position where he's left all alone and has to just do it by himself, the organization failed, not Brock, because we know exactly what he is. All right. Jonas just went down. Hey, Manhattan John, I'm about to throw you in here. What's going on, brother?
Yo, man, thanks for the time, coach. Do I sound okay?
Thank you for waiting and your patience, man. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, no worries at all. I got to say, man, after last night, I'm pretty optimistic. Like,
okay.
Sometimes in preseason games, you see like one rookie flash, but last night, like a lot of the rookies flashed in different aspects of the game. And so I'm super confident coming into this season, assuming we get BA and Trent, which we all assume now that we're going to. And I'm really, really optimistic about the outlook of the team this year. And I kind of wanted to ask you, with everything all combined and finally seeing the final product, do you think there's a chance that Nick Bosa can hit a season high sack record or be like top 2 with Floyd on the other side?
Well, with back-to-back injuries and with Yetur Gross-Matos and Leonard Floyd yesterday, that's pending. But that notwithstanding, I don't see why not. One of the things is that I have to move with logic. All right, so this is more of a feeling than it is me actually being able to prove that. But my feeling is Nick actually has had an offseason. Last year, he came in very late and admittedly said that he didn't really get his legs up under him until later into the season. And I think that he had said that he had just felt comfortable with run fits into the playoffs, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. I feel like, we're a slave to appearances, with always seeing either Eric Armstead or DeForest Buckner out there. A lot of Nick Bosa's success is going to be incumbent upon what we do on the interior, in my opinion. If Jordan Elliott and Malik Collins really show improve as like viable replacements and actually like give us what, not only what we need, what we got out of Javon Kinlaw and Eric Armstead, but what we didn't have, right? Which is really good pass rush from the interior. I believe that the sky is the limit. I'm excited to see what Nick Bosa does with this defense. I know they have a lot of guys that are missing. There's a lot of new names around them, especially in the front seven. And you can say, like right now, I would say the biggest question mark on this team is the defensive line and the offensive line, like with how they're going to perform. I think Nick Bosa feels that. And he prides himself on being a non-vocal leader that, leads by action. I would say that he's not going to be able to replicate what he did the year before he got his defensive player of the year.
Sure.
Year. Like to be able to do that is like striking lightning twice. I don't see that. But
what was it, 18 sacks or 19?
18. I would say anywhere in the realm of 12 to 15 sacks for Nick Bosa would be amazing. And I don't see why he couldn't do that this year.
All right. But for my prop bet, I want him to be the sack leader.
Not mad at you at all, bro. Not mad at you at all, man. How'd you feel about the game?
Good, man. Just because of this draft class is looking good, like we alluded to the last time we talked. And, it really is going to hinge on if it's going to be their best draft class ever, if Pearsall can make the field and be productive whenever his shoulder issue gets worked out. Like if that happens and we hit on the other three guys, like you can't ask for more than that, right?
Yeah.
Because
100%.
what people don't know is what that can do for your cap a year, 2 years from now. Like if all those guys can unseat a starter and then we get that money back when we got to pay Brock, that opens up opportunities for other people to get paid and stay on the team long term.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys were talking about like, well, I would keep Hufanga and this player on defense and I would let these two guys go. But if one of these rookies really pops and they hit the field, you could let someone else go who might just be average, pop in one of these rookies, and now you can keep 3 of the stars, right? Because the money shifts. Mm-hmm. And with that, it just gives them way more flexibility and makes the whole thing with paying Brock Purdy less of like a cut down situation of everyone that's getting paid on the team.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think that we look at what Brock needs to get paid, but we're not moving the rubric of what the climate is going to be when he gets paid, right? Mm-hmm. So we're looking at $60 million with 2024 eyes, right? Mm-hmm. And not understanding that we need to pace out what is going to look like next year. What's it going to look like when money shifts around? So I'm really not, honestly speaking, I'm really not worried about the Brock money. I think it'll get done. I really do. And I think that not only will it get done, but it's the team's job to be able to field the team around the quarterback. And I don't think that there's going to be this huge drop off just because he gets paid. If Brock wants like, for lack of a better term, fuck you money, like if he wants like $55 million a year, that would surprise me because it would say to me that he's got a blind spot. Like he's not self-aware. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't think he would do it.
Yeah. I hope he looks at the big picture and he's already pretty marketable. He's already gotten that social media campaign with John Deere. It's like, hey man, what if you just took 50 that still says you're a really good guy instead of 60 and you just thought about finishing your career in San Francisco and what that could do for the 20 years after it instead of just trying to get a supermax like in his first deal.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm gonna just tell you this right now. That's how I feel. I think that he's smart. He understands how to like. It's like you're a business. You know, yeah. I just said this with the last couple of callers. Like, quarterbacks are brands. They're more than just players. They're entities. And when you are taking yourself into like the bargaining room, like the last thing you want to do is alienate like your infrastructure. Like, I understand that you deserve this money because you're in the position to get paid, but understand that like you don't want to strip the entire organization and then make it contentious. You got to go there to work every day. Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got to go see the people in the building. So I think he gets that. I think that's why the Niners are so galvanized around him, because I think that he knows that he gets it. I'd be surprised if Brock fleeced us, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I think he won't, but if he does, like, good for him for like being the wild card, like
100%.
he'll get paid somewhere if the Niners don't want to do it. And like, look, maybe by then the Pastronaut will be ready to go for a couple seasons till we can draft someone else. Like, but I don't see it with Brock. It seems like he's going to be here for the long haul.
100%. I'll put it down, Rob. I know I get ahead of myself. Hey, Manhattan John, love the engagement, bro. Give me a call back. I'll see you in the chat, man.
Word. Thanks, dude.
Talk to you. Hunter, you ready for me, dog? What's good, brother?
Coach, what's up, baby?
Talk to me, man. We closing this one out. It's me and you.
Already. So I want to ask you a question.
What's
Do
up?
you think we as fans have unrealistic expectations when it comes to what we expect players to sign contracts for or given a hometown discount and things of that nature?
Hold on. Say that again.
Do you think as fans that we have unrealistic expectations of what we expect players to sign for when they negotiating a contract? Like Ayuk, for example, we got Brock coming up next year. Do you think our expectations on that is unrealistic?
From what perspective? Meaning that it's unrealistic that we think that they want the most at all times, or it's unrealistic that we think that they're going to take pay cuts?
That they think they're going to take pay cuts?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
So
yes.
This is a piece of information I kind of want to bring forward to people and try to help them understand. Like, we're not about to get Brock for less than $60 million. And I'm going to tell you why. If you look at the top three quarterbacks in the league right now.
Hold on, wait a minute. So you said that you already telling us that we not getting Brock for less than $60 million.
We're not, and I'm realistic on that, right?
Okay.
Which is why I do a lot of social media chirping. Comment here, comment there, but I've been telling people the NFL is amongst all sports leagues, for them to make the most revenue, they are behind on a lot of their policies and procedures. And I think the reason being is that look how long the Bartolos in York have been in the football business.
Okay.
Jerry Jones, the Rooneys, the Maras, they've been in this forever, right?
Okay.
Now, you look at the NBA in comparison. Michael Jordan, when he sold the Bobcats, right?
Okay.
But when he bought the Bobcats, he hadn't been an owner in the NBA at all.
Okay.
So he's a newer owner, probably more acceptable to change. You look at the Lakers, the Buss family been in the basketball business for a long time, but Dr. Buss was a progressive himself. His daughter, Jenny Buss, boom, she's going to be progressive. And if the NFL has old ownership, older mentality, right? So it's you get paid when I say you get paid, or when the contract dictates that you should get repaid.
Okay.
Really, if you're a smart GM, you are going to be able to have a scouting department that can say, hey, yeah, this guy is on the way up. Like, we can pay him early and we still gonna get more production out of him, right? So you can pay a guy earlier, get him for cheaper, and the productivity is still going to go up, right? So if you look at the quarterbacks that signed this year, signed big deals this year, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, they all making $55 million a year. Brock, in my opinion, is just as good or better than Jordan Love, just as good or better than Trevor Lawrence. And if you look at what they've accomplished, him and Joe Burrow, they the same guy. They both got to a Super Bowl and lost.
Hold on. I was with you. I gotta stop you.
Coach,
I gotta stop. Hold on. You gotta slow down. Brock, you telling me that you think that Brock Purdy and Jordan Love, he's just as good or better than Jordan Love? You think that?
I'm saying this. If you replace Brock Purdy and Jordan Love, this team is not going to perform any better. People are penalizing Brock the same way they tried to penalize Steph Curry and saying that he's a system player. You put a player in the system hoping that it works. How are you going to penalize the guy because he's working within the system? Now
Okay.
look at the difference between having Jimmy G in the system. Jimmy G had us fooled. We thought hey, this guy's all right until he didn't. Brock, we done seen enough. If we keep him in the system, he's gonna keep performing this way. If Brock somehow regressed or didn't keep up or improve his level of play, I would be highly surprised within
Okay.
this system. Now, if we for some reason we change coaches, bring in a new system, and
Oh yeah,
Brock, yeah,
everything
but
changes.
we
Yeah.
can't penalize a guy for being successful in a system, right? You can't penalize when we're trying to penalize Ayuk for the same thing, saying, "Oh well, he only this because of Debo and Kittle and Christian McCaffrey." Okay, I'm gonna bring up another stat. Wide
Okay.
receiver pay. Let's look at wide receiver pay.
Okay.
Justin Jefferson, no wide receiver in the league is in his window, right? Nobody can. He's head and shoulders best wide receiver in the league, 35 million a year.
Over
AJ,
Chase too? You don't think Chase is 1A, 1B?
no, Justin Jefferson way better than Chase, in my opinion.
Okay.
You got to look at what the team he's doing that on. Look at the quarterbacks he done had.
That's true.
And people still, they know the ball's coming to him. They can't stop him. I've seen Chase shut down before. AJ Brown, I would concede that AJ Brown is the second best wide receiver in the league, 32 million. Now, this is where it gets real murky, right? Because Amon-Ra St. Brown is at 30 million. And this is why you pay your guys early. If we would have paid Ayuk early, we could have gave him that DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle money, 27, 28. We might have been able to give him Devontae Smith money, 25.
That's what I was saying, bro. I feel like the time and it takes two to tango. So we gotta keep that the main thing. So if BA don't want to talk, then we can't have a conversation. If the Niners don't want to talk, then we can't have a conversation. So there's that. But if we are being lame right now and going back in time, which we are, if there was ever a time for them to breach that communication line and say, yo, here, we got this for you, is right when Jalen Waddle got paid. Like right in that 28, if they would have threw 28 at BA if they would have thrown 28 at BA when Amon-Ra St. Brown got his deal, this would have been a done deal. This had been over. If they'd have threw 26 at him before the draft, this might have been a done deal.
Yeah.
But
I
feel like it kept going up because they kept waiting.
Yeah, we wait till the last minute, and it bring me back to something Grant said last.
That's true, Dale. We don't know that, but it's
true.
It
bring me something back to Grant said that really makes me wonder. Grant brought up before that the Yorks are not cash rich. Whenever an NFL player signs a new contract, any guaranteed money has to go into escrow. Now you got the guaranteed amounts of money are so high, that's a lot of money going into escrow. So maybe they wait to the last minute because, hey, we gotta, we gotta get a little bit of money from here, a little bit of money from there, to push everything, to the table.
Hold on, just letting you know, Hunter, you getting fried in the chat. I'm letting you know.
Look,
they frying you in the chat because Eric, because look, I'm equal opportunity smoke out here. Eric just brought up a very good point that I let it ride. But I saw it in the chat, so I cannot. This ain't North Korea, man. This ain't Pyongyang. I gotta let the people speak. So Brock Purdy is the same.
Bring it on.
Let's go. So Brock Purdy is the same as Joe Burrow, and AJ Brown is better than Tyreek Hill.
So look at this.
What we doing?
Okay, look at this. Most fans flush the toilet on me. I don't mind it. Most fans look at football from a fantasy football perspective, right?
Okay.
If you go back and look at fantasy football numbers, Brock was a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. If you go back and look at availability last season, Brock was more available than Joe Burrow. If you go back and look, most people, what do they say? Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowls. Did Tom Brady win those 6 Super Bowls by himself? No. He played on a team, right? Brock's team performed better than Joe Burrow's team. By all measurable statistics, any intangibles, whatever you want to look at, Brock performed better than Joe Burrow last season. But this plays in the Kyle Shanahan narrative. Everybody is going to attribute that to Kyle. Everybody's going to attribute that to the system.
True.
But again, a lot of these guys, they probably didn't play sports growing up. I'm gonna keep it real. They didn't play sports growing up. A lot
You
of
ain't
them
about to
are.
gatekeep. You can't gatekeep.
I'm not gatekeeping. I'm not
You
gatekeeping.
can't
But coach,
gatekeep.
listen.
You know how
I'm
many
not
times? Hold on. Let me just say this. I'm gonna let you cook, but let me say this. You know how many times I get challenged or have debates, and I want to say, dog, I have coached. I've forgotten more football than you know. Like, do you know how many times I want to? You can't gatekeep.
Well, I'm not about to gatekeep. Listen
We
to what I'm
all
about to
in the
say.
same platform right now. You got a YouTube account just like I do. We can't gatekeep.
Yeah, but look, I'm not gatekeeping. But look what I'm about to say, Coach. You've been on teams, right? You know the most talented guy isn't always the best fit for a particular system, right?
True.
Lamar Jackson, physically, he's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, there's so many guys we can say physically gifted, talented, more than Brock Purdy, but that don't mean they're the right fit for the system, right? And that's something you have to play sports, be in the locker room, and honestly compete with somebody on the field to understand like what that means, right? So if that's why Brock went last in the draft, because if you looking at him on paper and on film, you're gonna see a lot of guys that you be like, oh no, I'd rather have him than him. But when you hit that rare occurrence where, okay, we got this system and we need a certain guy for a system, like we kind of fell into Brock, right? We can admit that. It's not like we drafted him high, we groomed him to be the next quarterback. The situation just kind of injury. All right, now we got no choice but to play the third string quarterback, right? But the system fits him. And that's something like you can't replicate that, right? We could go draft 10 quarterbacks in the same year. We just not gonna be able to force them into that system. So I'm not looking at, oh well, Joe Burrow was a number one pick. Joe Burrow was heralded coming out of college. I'm looking at the end result. The end result says Brock Purdy got to a Super Bowl and lost. Joe Burrow got to the Super Bowl and lost. When Brock Purdy's agent goes to negotiate his contract, none of that will matter. He's going to be a higher paid quarterback than Joe Burrow, and everybody on this fan base is going to have to accept that. Because what we going to do? Say, Brock, you can walk? He said, I want $60 million. I deserve to be the high. What we going to do? Let him walk?
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. Then the fans will be mad.
This is what I'm talking about, though, Hunter, is I believe that the Niners, not the Niners, let's just say it with Jed. Jed is going to have to choose between Kyle and Brock. And the fans are going to, that's what it's going to be. Because the fans, I don't care what Brock is asking for. We're going to want Brock to get paid.
Yeah, he deserves to get paid. He deserves to get paid. Last pick in the draft.
So there you go. All of it. We could be here all day.
And I'll keep it real. I was a pro Trey Lance guy.
Yeah,
because we drafted him, right? It was because,
yeah.
And push all the other stuff to the side. My team drafted him. I want to see our top draft pick do well. I don't want to see my team draft a guy with a top pick and then flame out. Like, why would we want one of our top draft picks to flame out, right? Now, I'm not saying that Brock is Joe Burrow. I'm saying when you look at it on paper,
I'm letting you cook. I'm letting you cook because I don't want to like chop up your full perspective. But there's a couple of things you said that I have to push back on.
Yeah, I want you to push back.
All right, let's go. So one, saying that Brock went to a Super Bowl and lost, and Joe Burrow going to a Super Bowl and lost, as if like winning a Super Bowl or losing a Super Bowl as a quarterback stat is a red herring. Like that's not a true barometer of quarterbacks. That's almost like Joe Burrow and Brock going head to head. No, Brock is facing the Bengals defense and Joe Burrow is facing the Niners defense. All right.
Yeah. So what I'm saying on that is that if you go to a Super Bowl, right, you got something on your resume that somebody who's never been like Dak, he's never been to a Super Bowl. And Dak's never won an NFC championship game. And that's the first thing people bring up when they want to discredit Dak. Now ask yourself, who the better quarterback? Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott? Like, could we just say without a shadow of a doubt that Brock is better than Dak or vice versa? Or could we say Brock playing a better system than Dak Prescott?
Well, see, now that's that's funny there, because Dak Prescott came in a little bit like Brock Purdy. Very talented team.
Very similar, yes.
Very similar. They came into the league at the same time. And at that time, there were a lot of people who were saying Dak was Fugazi. Like Dak really wasn't a guy because he was in a very talented offense and they didn't really put a lot on him. Now, you could say the same things about Brock, but at the time, there wasn't a lot of people. I feel like having the Brock Purdy is better than conversation is a little bit premature. I really believe that. I think that,
and that's what I'm saying. But when you look at it, like in terms of getting paid, a lot of these quarterbacks, it's only one quarterback who's staying above the rest, and he's not even the highest paid quarterback. He ain't even top 10 no more, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Why? Because the Chiefs got that deal done as soon as possible, gave him a lot of guaranteed, because they knew, okay, we got to find a way to pay this guy, but be able to keep a team around him, right? And see, this is the point I'm trying to make. A lot of these quarterbacks are interchangeable. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Tua, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. At least 7 of them guys, I would say Brock is better than, without a shadow of a doubt. Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Goff, Tua, Trevor Lawrence. Like, I don't care what nobody, Brock a better quarterback.
Right,
based on what I've seen.
So let me stop you right there. This is my point. Out of all of those guys you named, they all got their money.
Yeah. And Brock gonna get his.
So when Brock gets his money, then you can start having the conversation about who Brock is better than.
Facts. You're right about that. Now,
you feel me?
Let's bring it back.
Literally how I feel.
Yeah.
I understand.
But we agree that Brock is gonna get paid, right?
Brock gonna get paid. Yes,
he's gonna get paid, right? And I'm saying he's gonna be the highest paid quarterback. I'm not sure who else come up next season.
I don't think he's gonna kill. I don't think he's gonna run away with like the bag though. I don't believe that. I think Brock understands his ascension. I think he gets it. He understands that, not from a standpoint of, because I feel like when I say that, I virtue signal to, oh, Brock really knows he's not as good as he thinks he is. Like, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean by Brock gets it is that Brock understands that my true weapon is to slow walk these cats. All right. I got to walk these dudes down. All right. I don't have the overpowering arm. I'm not going to be able to just completely take a game over with a horrible roster. I got to play chess. I got to make sure that these guys get their money. These guys stay around. Then when it's time for me to get mine, even the way Brock negotiates for his money is going to speak volumes to how the locker room receives him.
So do you think he's going to take the Tom Brady approach and say, you know what?
You know he is.
Give me a little bit less, but you got to guarantee that I'm going to have my guys in place, right?
Yes.
Okay, so with that point being made, if I was Brock Purdy, I would have been in Jed, Parag, John Lynch, whoever office. Hey, I don't care what y'all got to do, but I need Brandon Ayuk here like tomorrow. My deal is coming up. I'll give y'all some grace if y'all can get Brandon back in here. Because at first, I was kind of like, man, Brandon being a little bit greedy. Then I really started looking at it. He really not being greedy. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting $30 million,
he's
like
not.
He
I
really
was bugging.
not. Yeah, he really not.
I was bugging, bro.
He really not being greedy, because when you get into it, like the guys that's making that, if he was to play on that 5th-year deal, it will push him down there with guys like Cortland Sutton, Tyler Lockett, Christian Kirk will be making more than him. Jerry freaking Judy making more
Jerry
than Brandon
Jeudy,
Ayuk.
yeah,
Gabe, I can't catch the ball. Davis, Darnell
he be in the
Mooney.
Amari Cooper range around
Like,
there.
yeah, it's bad, man. Like, it's bad. Like,
What they really were trying to do is they saw the momentum coming, and and they don't want to. They know that Brandon is trying to set his floor. He's trying to set his floor. Like, this is how I'm going to be dealt with. And the Niners know that they're trying to kill the lead. They know that if Brandon gets paid this money, then he's already going to be. They got to play ball with the rest of the league now, because now they're paying him market rate, which means that when teams come knocking for Brandon to get paid again, the Niners not only have to take care of Brandon, but they have to respect him and fend him off for the rest of the league. And the Niners don't want an open market player. That's why they take the guaranteed money away in the third year, because they want to be able to have maneuverability with you in your free agent year. Brandon doesn't want that. And I feel him. And I'm going to be real. I was bugging. At first, I really was kind of like on this company man shit where I was saying, like, Brandon, understand what's going on with the organization, bro.
right.
Like, you're doing too much. I really was on that. But when the real numbers came out of what they offered him, man, that shit went straight out the window, bro. I was like, 24? What?
Now,
Like,
this is the last
bro,
thing I want to bring up. This is the last thing I
24?
want to. This is the last thing I want to bring up. Man, I don't know if any of our fans have went in and looked at it, but I went in and looked at it. Ayuk really had a historic season last season.
Deep balls.
He had the most efficient I couldn't find only wide receiver seasons I could find that was more efficient was like Randy Moss his rookie year when everything was a 50+ yard touchdown.
Yeah, the Culpepper year.
So he was 23rd in targets, but he was top 10 in receptions. He was top 5 in receiving touchdowns. I think he was number 1 in first down plays, in first down plays. Like, he converted from a first down. It's like every crazy statistic you could look at. Like, he was at the top of the league in it, and we talking about, like, if he wasn't top, if he would have had like 1 or 2 more games where we fed him the ball a little bit more, like, he would have been top 3 in pretty much every important receiving category. Then what made it even more crazier, I'm thinking, okay, we're a run first team. Maybe Brandon just got way more targets than everybody else. No, he only had like 10 more targets than Debo, only like 15 more targets than Kittle. Surprisingly, he only had like 15 more targets than Christian. And when you look at it, Christian, Debo, and George Kittle, their efficiency wasn't that great.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
They get force fed a lot.
Yeah, they get force fed a lot. So I'm like, man, we are really not utilizing Brandon's talents to the maximum, right? Which I understand Kyle got his system, yada, yada, yada. I get all of that. But it's like, man, I really think Brock and Ayuk have a special connection. And I feel like this season we probably needed to lean into that a little bit more, which BA never took over a game like the other Avengers. Oh, week 1 against the Steelers last year, he didn't take over the game. I think he had 3 touchdowns that game, 100+ receiving yards.
What about Las Vegas? What about Las Vegas?
Vegas? What about he damn near single-handedly won us the game against the Lions with that crazy
catch against the Lions last year. Dale, we got to get you. Dale.
Yeah.
That was a trash take, Dale. That was trash.
So when I'm looking, I always, I look at the potential, right? BA, as good as the season as he had last year, he got the potential to give us a better season every year for the rest of this contract, because he's still only 26-year-old, which means him and Brock got time to grow together. So whatever we sign Ayuk for and what we sign Brock for, we got to look at that as like a package deal, because George is old, Trent is old, Christian, in terms of running backs, he kind of getting long in the tooth. So in a couple of years, it's a very high likelihood we won't have 3 of our highest paid players on this team anymore. So we shouldn't even be looking at, okay, we shouldn't be looking at what we paying. Like, Brandon, okay, if Amon Ra's making 30, we got to pay Brandon 30, right? Because that 30 is going to get blown out the water probably by next year, once more TV money come in from here and there. We're gonna have to pay Brock his $60 million, and but look, here go the crazy thing about it. The way our rookies looked last night, we really don't got nothing to worry about because we be finding guys. Jordan Mason, man, I feel it'll be a travesty if we don't lighten Christian's workload and let Jordan get some work this season, so Christian can be top tier, for the playoffs, man. Like we got young talent, like bro, that ain't even up for question. Defense, like man, what we talking about, bro? Like we got talent. So yeah, we gonna lose guys, but we can replace guys, and we've been doing that. So, but what wide receiver is one position where we haven't been able to get it right for the most part, and quarterback is a position where we haven't really gotten it right in a long time. So if we got two guys here that we can see on paper and on film, like these two guys got something. Why are we being stingy with the money? Like, come on, man. Like this is simple. This is 1 + 1 = 2. Like, how are we overthinking this, man? And as fans, we need to demand that. Pay Brock when it's time to pay him. Pay Brandon Ayuk. That's gonna be the backbone of our team. With whatever running back Kyle can turn into a stud next, because he know how to do that. And then, but the bigger thing we need to focus on is outside of that is building up that O line. Because think about what Brock will look like with an O line. Look what Brandon will look like with an O line. And think about this: we don't really got a true number 2 receivers because Jennings is basically another tight end, and Debo is a gadget player. Man, this team got so much potential. Like, we haven't even cracked the surface yet, man. But I ain't gonna take up no more of your time, Coach. I know I'm long-winded, but man, like, come on, man. Like, we really haven't cracked the surface of what we can do with Brock yet.
Hey, man, look, call back again. I want to hear exactly what you think about after the first game, because we here, dog.
Yeah, we here, bro. I'm just ready to see. I'm just ready to see us play again. And like I said, man, I hope we got all of our guys. Man, I think Brock is gonna have a really good season. Man, I really think he's gonna have a good season. Especially if we get Brandon back, we get Trent back. Man, I think Brock is gonna have a really special season. I can't say that we're gonna go back to the Super Bowl because football is a tough physical game, and it's hard to make it to the Super Bowl even once, less known, multiple times, in one career. But man, I really think we're gonna have a good season, even though stuff seem a little bit rocky right now, man. But we here, man, and I'm excited, man. Like, I'm ready to see our guys play. I watched Georgia Tech and FSU today, and that was a really good game, man. They quarterback DJU, he transferred from Oregon State, and they had a guy that transferred from Alabama to Florida State as well. They were a little rusty because it's their first time playing for Florida State, new system, whereas Georgia Tech was bringing over more experienced guys who played together. So they upset Florida State. Plus, they was playing all the way in Ireland. So it was kind of I don't want to say it was a fluke win, but you could tell it was a circumstantial win because Florida is ranked number 10 and Georgia Tech is unranked at the moment. But it was a good game, man, and I was just happy to watch football. At the end of the day, I was just happy to watch football, and now it got me pumped up, ready to see us play on Monday Night Football, week 1 against the Jets. That'll be a good game too. Old school, barn burner, smash mouth. I think that's going to be a defensive football game, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Well, hey, look, Hunter, great insights. You know what I'm saying? I know you need to get in content creation, bro. Like, I know you want to do it, bro. It's written all over you.
Yeah,
you know
it is, man.
You came prepared. I saw you. We gonna talk, bro. You came for. We gonna talk. We gonna talk. So
all right,
I want to do more than just have you on call-in shows, man. You obviously have a point of view. So we gonna link up, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love our fans, man. I love our fans, but I hit you up on Twitter, bro.
You got my Twitter, right?
I think so. I think I follow you on there. If not, I'll find you.
Tough up front 77.
Tough up front 77. Okay, yeah. I got you.
Hit me up, bro.
All right, bye. Peace.
My man. Yo, so look, this is a great call-in show. You know what I'm saying? Asking you shall receive. We got to be able to just keep the calls going. And look, another thing that I'm going to tell you right now is that the season has officially started. Like, we are on the clock, no pun intended. And I'm excited to see exactly what we're going to do with the season. As you guys know, I'm going to do live shows for every game this season. I think I found my niche, guys. You guys I'm getting really good feedback for the timers. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving good feedback for putting the scores up. There's a lot of different things that we've been trying to do for the live streams. And also for the call-in shows, there's a couple of things that we're going to do to have some, like, make them more streamlined. But I'm just loving the engagement. And guys, we are finally here. Hey, man, it's your boy, the coach. This is a long one. Stay low and keep your feet moving.